For quite some time now, I've been observing how the police only focuses on cases that are either trending, high profile, or involves one of their own. Now, I've made a compilation of a few cases that I'm gonna use as a reference to the statement that I'm saying. But for a very long time, what I've seen is that if somebody's not trending on social media, if somebody is not a celebrity or a high profile person in general, or if somebody's not a police person, police don't really like give all their attention to that case. And it has been evident, especially this year in 2025. The first case that I would make reference to is the case of Twe, a 7-year-old girl who was allegedly abused in school. The police only took serious action months later after protests and media pressure. If there were no protests or people on social media didn't spread awareness based on this issue, I don't think the police would have done anything. And mind you, at that time the case had already been reported. You understand? It's not like the case was reported 7 months later or anything. They went to the police station and the police chose not to do anything until it was on social media trending, until it was on the news. That's where now we saw the police acting. That's where now we even saw the government being involved, and even after that, they kind of like let it. They left the case after they realized that they've been making noise towards a person who is apparently not the perpetrator in that case. So right now, because it has died down on social media, even the actual case and the actual attention that is given to that case by the police or the government has died down, and that's it. So my question is, why did a little girl have to suffer in silence until the country shouted on her behalf, while we have the police, while we have the government, while we have the social services that could have made this a big deal? The second case is this recent case of Olerato Mongale, who was apparently a former journalist. Within days, her body was found, and suspects were hunted with helicopters, drones, and there were even shootouts whereby suspects died and everything. So the state acted extremely fast. I'm not saying that they do not deserve, I'm not saying that the victims do not deserve this attention or anything. I'm just using this as a references to a bigger issue. The police acted very fast. So my question is, did they move fast because she had a LinkedIn profile and a media background? In short, was it the reason that pushed them to kind of act fast because she was kind of a big deal on social media or anything? Or was it because she deserved justice? I feel like they only act if they know that there are cameras that's gonna be rolling. There's everything. So I see that people have been praising the KZN. I think it's the commissioner, or you understand, for the arrest of the suspects and everything. But I feel like at the end of the day, the same attention should also be given to ordinary people, and we shouldn't like be biased on the types of people that get these resources deployed to their cases, because there are people who suffer in South Africa and some of them cannot even get a van, a van deployed to them, not to talk about helicopters and drones and divers and everything. People struggle to even get a van. The police usually tells people that there are no vans available. But if it's a popular person, if it's a person that's trending on social media, if it's a person who is like, linked to the police somehow, they act very fast. Like I said, the case of Olerato is one of the many cases whereby women have been abducted and women have been killed. But a lot of them, there has never been this much attention and this much resources deployed to their cases. Up to today, we usually see people, posting RIP to so and so, she went missing and everything. But we've never seen the police kind of deployed all their resources to solving that case like they did with the case of Olerato. Like I said, I'm not saying that she does not deserve that agency or anything. What I'm saying is that each and every single victim in South Africa kind of deserves the same agency that was given to Olerato. Whether they are cameras, whether they are social media hashtags or what, they deserve that same attention and they should be treated the same. So it's kind of unfair that the government, the police, they only act if there is media involved, they only act if there is social media protests involved. At this point, I feel like they are only doing this for the likes, to make people feel like they are actually working overtime and everything. So one last case that I like to make a reference to, you remember a case of, the Henops River, that was in January, I think, whereby people were found in a river and whatever. So the man went missing in January. His car was found in a river, in Henops River in Pretoria. But resources were heavily deployed. Also, there were, divers, there were boats, and there were helicopters, even K9 units looking for, this man. Like I said, I'm not saying they don't deserve the attention, but I feel like the reason he got so much attention is mainly because he was a policeman, so he was basically one of their own. So when it's their own, the police don't really wait, they act like lives matter. But today, when it's one of us, the public, ordinary people, do they act the same way when it's ordinary people who are in this situation? And I feel like it's a pattern. I've looked at the pattern, and when it's somebody important or somebody with a spotlight, they get full support. But when it's your neighbor, your sister, or your child, you get delayed paperwork and silence. That's not justice, that's just media performance. So my concern is, I'm very concerned about how the police are handling these matters. So comment down below and let me know if you know somebody who has been failed by the system. Let's make their stories trend so that they can finally act, because it seems like that's the only thing that pushes the police to take cases seriously. Till next time, peace.